today I just wanted to share with you some of my favourite foundations. These are ones that I tend to use in my kit. Most of them are premium high-end products. In no particular order, I'm going to start off by talking about YSL Touche Éclat foundation. If any of you follow me, you'll probably know that I use this quite a lot, and I use it from anyone who wants a really sheer natural coverage to people who want more coverage but a glow, because I quite like tying it in with other foundations. So I'll maybe use a thicker, more matte foundation, and then I'll use this on the high points of the skin just to create that real luminosity. This one, this colour obviously is not the right colour for me, but I just wanted to give you a rough idea of the finish. This is actually B60 and I'm more like, I think I'm B20, one of the light, more yellow tone. But you can see it's got a real glow to the skin, so it does give you that really healthy sheen. And it does photograph beautifully, so I've used it a lot on TV, I've used it on catwalk, you name it, everyone, and it photographs so well, I can't even tell you. So if you know you're going to an event, then this is definitely a winner. The YSL Touche Éclat does tend to stay well on the skin, but it does have a bit more of a glow, so if you are more oily, I would recommend using a primer, something a little bit more oil absorbing, or really making sure to set it with powder. It's a sheer buildable coverage, and it does have a bit more of a healthy glow, so it technically would be better for someone with a drier combination normal skin. But like I said before, you can use it if you're oily, just team it up with good setting products. These foundations come in 3 different tones, I believe, so it's either a yellow base, a warmer pinky base, or it's the sort of neutral, which is really good because it's a little bit of combination of the pink and the yellow, so that's a really good feature. And they really do, they cover such a wide spectrum of colours, so they go from the lightest colour to a really deep, lovely warm shade, so that's an amazing part of the foundation, is the colour range. The next foundation I want to talk about is a similar finish to the Touche Éclat actually. It gives the skin a real healthy, radiant finish. This one is the Face and Body from MAC. So again, photographs beautifully, works really well on TV or if you're just going out. But the nice thing about this one is the more you work the product, the thicker it will go, so the more coverage you'll get. So I like to use a little pea-sized amount in my hand and then just really heat it up, and you can feel it going more tacky. And that's how you're really going to get more coverage with it, so it's really malleable in that way. I use Face and Body a lot backstage at Fashion Week because the clues of the name, it does really work well on the body. It is more water resistant, so I will just use it with my hands. I mean, models, not models, I'm not aiming at you models, but everyone tends to get that sort of slight corned beef sometimes on the legs. So using a little pea-sized amount, you can just massage it in, and it's like wearing a pair of tights on your body. So really good if you are going for an event or for a photo shoot. So this one is a real winner for me as well. It comes in 2 sizes. When I was on the events team, I spoke to someone who was developing the new formula. They did actually have to change it a little bit when they resized it, because there's certain products that is added to the old one that can't be added to the new one for reasons I'm not sure of. But I always tend to use the bigger size one still, but if you are using it for a personal reason, the small one is good. Face and Body comes in 2 sizes. This is the smaller one, and this is the colour I am actually. This is C1, which is basically the C is the cool undertone and the N is the warm undertone, so it's neutral cool or neutral warm. So this one is the C1, which is the lightest, but you can get it in white as well, which works really well. see it has that lovely glow. The good thing about it coming in white is if you are really fair, you can mix a little drop of the white into any foundation really, just to really lighten it up, because some foundations just don't come light enough, so that's a really good thing about it. The next foundation I wanted to talk about is one that you see a lot of people using. It's the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. I'm actually quite new to the game with this one, but I do love the finish. It photographs beautifully. I think because it's so hyped up, when I first used it on my skin, I was a bit like, oh, I just imagined that I was going to look flawless, but it does have really good coverage. But the main plus of this one is it does photograph beautifully. It's a medium buildable coverage, but it doesn't have like overly SPF, so it doesn't tend to flash back, and in photographs you do look really seamless and flawless and beautiful. This is actually close to my skin colour. In MAC I'm about an NC15, and this one I'm about a 3. I'm going to do it on the other hand because I've got some foundation on there now. So number 3 is the more yellow base, and the texture is quite a satiny finish, so it's not too matte but it's not overly glowy either. It just makes the skin look quite smooth and gives a nice amount of coverage to it. The next foundation I want to talk about is the MAC Studio Fix Liquid. Again, this is a little bit of a Marmite product. If you're from England, you know the Marmite reference. Sorry if you don't, but basically people either love it or they hate it, or they're okay about it. I personally do really like it, but I know it can look a bit heavy. It doesn't photograph amazingly, especially more flash photography, so I wouldn't tend to use it on a photo shoot under bright lights, like, you know, with models and things, and I wouldn't use it so much on TV and filming. But for more of my appointments, so someone who needs something that's going to be really good coverage, it's going to last really well on the skin, and just normal photography, so if you haven't got a bright flashing light, because the main thing about it is it's normally the SPF that tends to have a little bit of a flashback, so it can make you look lighter than it appears in real daylight. So that's something to be wary of, but other than that it does give the most amazing flawless coverage. I personally do like this on myself, just for a day-to-day one when I don't need to worry about touching up the skin and I really just want to cover all my spots, because I get a load of acne all around my jawline, like hormonal acne. My colour is about an NC15, though this will probably look a lot lighter in that light, but it's a more of a matte finish. That's the only thing I do find on my skin, is it can look a little bit too matte, so that's when I tend to use a little bit of the YSL foundation again. So I've put the Studio Fix, just a really sheer amount because it is such good coverage, just a tiny bit, building it up on my jawline, and then I will use a little bit of the YSL foundation just in these high points where I want a bit more of a glow, and so it doesn't look so heavy. That way you'll get a little bit of life to your foundation. It does have shades for very fair people and again to sort of deeper skin, so it's good. It does tend to cover a wide spectrum of skin tones. So all round a good foundation if you want medium full coverage. If you do get a little bit shiny in areas, so more combination to oily skin, it tends to work better with. If you've got quite dry skin you probably would find it a little bit too matte. But yeah, for longevity I think it's a really good foundation. Makeup HD foundation is good if you want a medium to buildable, quite flawless coverage. Really long wearing, it's not quite as heavy as the Studio Fix, but you'll still get good coverage, and this one is a better alternative if you are going to be using more flash photography or on TV and you want more coverage. So it's not going to be as heavy looking, it's not going to look as light in any flash photography, so that's a good alternative. The last foundation I want to talk about today is the MAC Studio Sculpt foundation. I'm sorry it's a bit MAC heavy, but I did spend 10 years on the MAC events team, so I'm a little bit brainwashed probably, but I do find these ones do work really well for these sort of events. This one is another good alternative to the Studio Fix if you want something that's not quite as dry. So if you have got more dry skin and you want coverage, and also for filming, this one works really well. It does have SPF 15, but it doesn't tend to flash back. And it does give the skin a little bit more radiance. So it's a sort of satiny, glowy foundation. The nice thing I find about this foundation is it's quite malleable, so you can really buff it out. Often at Fashion Week, if I did want a little bit extra coverage, I'd use the tiniest amount and I'll just really polish it on the skin, even using your fingers, just get the tiniest amount and you can get quite a natural finish. Or if you do want more of a flawless finish, you can build it up a bit more, so you do get a nice amount of control with this foundation. So that was a little run through of my favourite foundations. I hope you found it interesting. Please let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to cover, but I hope to see you again soon. Bye!